Hello, I'm Virginia Delegate Bob Brink from the 48th District in Arlington and McLean, and this is my fourth weekly video update from the 2013 General Assembly session. A few weeks ago, when the legislative activity of the House and Senate was focused on the committees, I reported to you from one of the rooms where my committees meet. Today, we're on the floor of the House of Delegates, and I'm at my desk, number 16. This coming week, the action will shift to the floor, and we'll be spending a lot of our time right here at our desks, debating and voting. The original Capitol building was designed by Thomas Jefferson and completed in 1788. In 1906, 2 wings were added to the original structure to house the Senate and House of Delegates. A few years ago, the entire Capitol building was closed and renovated, and the chambers were restored to their 1906 appearance, and that's what you see here today. The scenes in the U.S. House of Representatives in Steven Spielberg's movie Lincoln were filmed right here in this chamber, and Tommy Lee Jones occupied desk number 30 in the second row on the aisle. Since the beginning of the session, the committees have combed through the bills that were referred to them, approving some and rejecting many more. The approved measures are sent to the full House for consideration in 3 stages. On first reading, the bill goes on to the calendar. Second reading is when the bill is debated and amended. And on third reading, the bill is voted up or down. The official votes are cast through an electronic system that's installed in our desks here, and all the members' votes are recorded and displayed on 2 large electronic voting boards mounted on the front wall of the chamber. For people who aren't in the chamber, the General Assembly website provides an easy and almost real-time way to look at the votes that each member cast that are recorded for each bill that's considered by the House. The deadline for each chamber to complete consideration of its own bills is this coming Tuesday at midnight, a day called crossover. As we've approached crossover, what started at the beginning of the session as a trickle of bills making their way through the process to the floor becomes a flood. In order to consider all these bills by the deadline, this coming week will go into session at 10 a.m. instead of the normal starting time of noon, and in some years these marathon pre-crossover floor sessions have lasted until 8 or 9 at night. If a bill receives a majority of the votes here, it will then go down the hall to the Senate, where it will undergo the same process as it did on the House side: subcommittee, full committee, and floor consideration. If the Senate makes an amendment to one of the bills, no matter how small, either the House has to accept the Senate changes, or a committee of conference will be appointed to work out the differences with the 2 bills. Later in the session, we'll talk about the final stages of the process when the bills reach the governor's desk. 2 of my bills have made it through the legislative gauntlet and will be considered on the floor at the beginning of this week. One of them was requested by Arlington's hotel and lodging industry. It will reinstate a small surcharge on the tax that Arlington levies on hotel and motel room rentals in the county. It's called the transient occupancy tax. This 1/4% surcharge will be used to promote tourism and business travel in Arlington, which produces a huge economic benefit not only for the county, but for Virginia as a whole. My other bill will help young adults who have spent their youth in foster care. The bill targets a small number of former foster kids who broke the law and are coming out of the juvenile justice system. It will provide independent living services, education and employment assistance, money management advice, and similar counseling to help them get off to a good start on their own. Now, because the bill had a fiscal impact, we had to clear the additional hurdle of the Appropriations Committee. But if my bill helps just one of these people avoid unemployment, substance abuse, homelessness, or criminal activity, it will more than pay for itself in the long run. In addition to the crossover deadline for regular legislation, this week is when the budget bills come to the floor. On Sunday, after weeks of hearings and meetings, the two chambers' money committees, House Appropriations and Senate Finance, issued their reports on amendments to the budget that Governor McDonnell presented to the General Assembly at the beginning of the session. Then on Thursday, the budget will be on the floor for consideration by the full House. The House bill is a compilation of reports and recommendations from its 10 subcommittees: Transportation, Health and Human Services, Education, and so on. The members will have the opportunity to call up the committee recommendations for a vote and to offer amendments on their own. Then, as is the case with other legislation, the House and Senate budget bills will go into a conference committee to work out the differences between the two chambers. If everything goes smoothly, the conference agreement on the budget will be our last item of business at the end of our 46-day session on February 23rd. As always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact my office. My email is delegatebrink@gmail.com. I hope you'll visit my website, bobbrink.org, like me on Facebook, or follow me on Twitter, @delbrink. I appreciate you taking the time to watch my video updates, and I look forward to keeping you updated throughout the remainder of the 2013 General Assembly session. This is Delegate Bob Brink, and thank you for watching.